In a landscape of economic uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerges on the horizon for millions of Americans. As we navigate through these challenging times, the possibility of new stimulus payments under a potential Trump administration has captured the nation's attention. While the political arena buzzes with speculation, what matters most is understanding how these proposed changes could impact your financial future. Picture this. Just like the transformative impact of the 2020 to 2021 stimulus checks that helped over 160 million Americans weather the storm of COVID-19, these potential new payments could bring similar relief to families across the nation. The numbers are compelling. The previous rounds of stimulus payments injected over $850 billion into the American economy, helping countless families avoid financial hardship and stimulating local economies from coast to coast. Today, we're diving deep into the latest updates about these proposed stimulus checks for 2025. I'll break down the complex political discussions into clear, actionable information that matters to you and your family. We'll explore not just the potential payment amounts, but also who might be eligible, how they could be distributed, and most importantly, what you need to do to ensure you don't miss out if these payments become reality. If you're concerned about your financial future or want to stay ahead of these important developments, you're in the right place. Hit the like button to help others find this crucial information, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates on stimulus payments and financial news that affects your wallet. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on these potential payments. Your experience with previous stimulus checks could help others in our community understand what to expect. Together, let's navigate these important financial developments and ensure we're all prepared for what 2025 might bring. Let me start by sharing something that recently caught my attention, a conversation I had with Sarah from Ohio. She, like many Americans, remembers how the previous stimulus checks helped her family stay afloat during the pandemic. When she told me about using that money to finally repair her car so she could keep working, it reminded me why these discussions about potential new stimulus payments matter so much to real people across our country. Let's dive into what's currently being discussed regarding these potential 2025 stimulus payments. According to recent statements and policy proposals, the framework being considered shares some similarities with previous stimulus programs, but with several key differences that could affect how much money reaches American families. The proposed amounts being discussed range from $1,200 to $2,000 per eligible adult, with additional amounts for dependents. But remember, these numbers are still preliminary and subject to change as policy discussions continue. One of the most interesting aspects of this potential stimulus package is how it differs from previous ones. Unlike the pandemic-era payments, which were primarily focused on immediate crisis response, these proposed payments are being framed as part of a broader economic strategy. The goal isn't just to provide immediate relief, but to stimulate long-term economic growth and stability. This could mean different eligibility requirements and potentially even a different distribution schedule than what we saw in 2020 and 2021. Something that's particularly worth noting is the income threshold discussion. Previous stimulus checks started phasing out for individuals earning more than $75,000 annually and couples earning more than $150,000. The current proposal suggests these thresholds might be adjusted to account for inflation and regional cost of living differences. This could mean more middle-class families would be eligible for the full payment amount, especially in areas with higher living costs. I recently spoke with Michael, a financial advisor who's been closely following these developments. He pointed out something fascinating about the potential economic impact. Based on data from previous stimulus rounds, local businesses saw significant increases in revenue in the weeks following stimulus payments. This multiplier effect could be even more pronounced in 2025, given how the economy has evolved since the pandemic. An important element that's different this time around is the proposed implementation timeline. Rather than the rapid deployment we saw during the pandemic, these payments might be rolled out in phases over several months. This approach could help prevent some of the logistical challenges we saw with previous stimulus distributions, like payment delays and verification issues. The role of digital payment methods is another fascinating aspect of these proposed stimulus checks. With the increased adoption of digital wallets and payment apps since the last stimulus round, there's discussion about making digital distribution a primary option. This could mean faster access to funds for many Americans, though provisions would still be in place for those who prefer traditional payment methods. Let's talk about how these potential payments might affect different groups of Americans. For families with children, there's discussion of enhanced payments similar to the expanded child tax credit we saw in 2021. This could mean additional support for parents, particularly those with young children or those caring for dependent adults. Senior citizens and those on fixed incomes are another group that could see significant benefits from these proposed payments. Unlike some previous economic support programs, the current discussions include provisions specifically designed to ensure that seniors receiving Social Security benefits would be eligible for the full payment amount, regardless of whether they file taxes. A particularly innovative aspect being discussed is the possibility of linking future stimulus payments to economic indicators. This means that instead of requiring new legislation for each round of payments, the program could automatically trigger additional support if certain economic conditions are met. This could provide more predictable and responsive financial support during future economic downturns. The impact on small businesses is another crucial consideration. While these payments would go directly to individuals, the ripple effects on local economies could be substantial. When I spoke with Lisa, a small business owner in Texas, she shared how previous stimulus payments helped keep her restaurant afloat as customers had more disposable income to spend locally. There's also significant discussion about the administrative aspects of these potential payments. Learning from previous experiences, there's talk of improving the verification and distribution systems to ensure payments reach eligible recipients more quickly and efficiently. This could include better coordination between federal and state agencies, as well as improved systems for updating personal information. The question of funding these payments is naturally a significant part of the discussion. Various proposals have been put forward, including adjustments to corporate tax rates and closing certain tax loopholes. Understanding how these funding mechanisms might work is crucial for evaluating the long-term sustainability of such a program. One aspect that's particularly relevant for many viewers is how these potential payments might interact with other federal benefits. Unlike some previous stimulus rounds, there's discussion of ensuring that receiving these payments wouldn't affect eligibility for other assistance programs. This could be especially important for families who rely on multiple forms of support. The timing of these potential payments is also worth discussing in detail. While 2025 is the target year, there's consideration of how economic conditions might affect the exact rollout schedule. This flexibility could allow for better targeting of support when it's most needed, rather than adhering to a rigid timeline. Let's talk about preparation. What can you do now to ensure you're ready if these payments become reality? First and foremost, making sure your information is up to date with the IRS is crucial. This includes your current address, banking information, and any changes in your family situation. I've heard too many stories of people experiencing delays with previous stimulus payments simply because their information wasn't current. Another important consideration is how these potential payments might fit into your broader financial planning. While it's tempting to think of stimulus checks as extra money, having a plan for how to use these funds most effectively can help maximize their impact on your financial stability. Whether that means paying down debt, building emergency savings, or investing in needed repairs or improvements, thinking ahead can help you make the most of any potential payments. The international perspective on these proposed payments is also interesting. Other countries have tried various forms of direct payments to citizens, and their experiences could inform how this program is implemented in the United States. For example, some countries have experimented with targeted payments based on specific economic sectors or geographic regions affected by economic downturns. A crucial aspect that deserves attention is the potential impact on inflation. Unlike the pandemic-era stimulus payments, which were distributed during a period of restricted economic activity, these proposed payments would enter an economy with different characteristics. Economists have varying views on how this might affect prices, and it's an important factor in how the program might be structured. For those wondering about documentation requirements, the current proposals suggest a streamlined verification process. This could mean easier access for eligible recipients while maintaining necessary safeguards against fraud. The goal is to balance accessibility with accountability, learning from both the successes and challenges of previous stimulus programs. The role of state and local governments in supplementing these federal payments is another interesting aspect of the discussion. Some states have implemented their own stimulus programs in the past, and there's consideration of how federal payments might be coordinated with state-level initiatives to maximize their effectiveness.